Ego. You must have heard about this word in your life so many times, or you might have said or told others that they are having lot of ego. What is this ego? Don't you have ego? Is having ego good or bad? If good, why is it good? Don't get surprised. Having ego is good. Yes, I am telling from my side, having ego is good. If good, then why? If you think having ego is bad, then why? Has anybody crushed your ego? Did you hurt anyone's ego? You must have hurt. If you have hurt somebody's ego, what are the repercussions? What are the consequences you faced in your life? There are so many problems you might have faced when you hurt somebody's ego. If you are a husband, if you have hurt your wife's ego, you know what kind of repercussions you might have faced. And if you are a student and if you hurt the ego of your teacher, what your teacher did to you, you must have remembered right now. So after all, in every aspects of our life, we talk about this ego. After all, what it is and how to develop positive ego. Don't get confused. I am trying to tell you that positive ego. So there are different types of egos. Let us understand all these things in this podcast. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel Swamy Vijay, and this is Swamy Vijay speaking to you all. Welcome to this new episode of podcast with a brand new topic. Today we will be discussing an essential aspect of our lives, ego. But before I start this podcast, I know you are watching and listening to my podcast regularly. Thanks for that, and this podcast is dedicated to you. I wish to know who you are, so please drop your name and details in the comment section below so that I'll get to know who are my first viewers and who are watching me first. So let us begin today's topic. What is ego? According to psychology, ego refers to a person's sense of self or identity. It is your identity. If you have ego, means you have identity. If you don't have ego, means you don't have any identity. If anybody can tell anything to you on your face and if you don't respond, either you must be dead or you don't have any identity. So only dead people have no egos. All other we have ego. So it is your identity. Don't get confused. Having ego is something wrong. Ego is your identity. So what it actually includes? It includes your thoughts, your beliefs and attitudes about yourself. It can also refer to a person's sense or self-importance or self-esteem. Understand these words. Your self-esteem is your ego. If you don't have self-esteem, it doesn't mean that you don't have ego. You have no self-esteem. So people who are having ego, they have self-esteem. Observe those people who are highly successful in their life. They have supreme egos. The higher the ego, they'll try to achieve things higher in their life. So in psychology, ego is one of the three parts of personality proposed by Sigmund Freud, along with the id and superego. That means there are three parts in our personality. One is id, second one is ego, and third one is superego. The ego acts as a mediator between the unconscious impulses of the id and the moral and social constraints of the superego, seeking to find a balance between the two. In everyday language, ego can refer to a person's tendency to prioritize their own interests or desires above those of others, often at the expense of others' well-being. If somebody comes and tell you, you look beautiful, you feel very happy. That means they pleased your ego. But if somebody comes and tell you look ugly, they hurt your ego. That means your self-esteem, your identity is got hurt. So the balance between yourself and others' comments, id and superego, it is maintained by ego. So that is your identity, or that is you actually. So now let us talk about how to have a positive ego or a healthy ego. It's not wrong to have an ego in our life. If anybody says having ego is wrong, don't believe them. They are just trying to mislead you. So in general, having a healthy sense of ego can be beneficial in many ways. It can help individuals to have confidence in themselves and their abilities, to set and achieve goals, and to persevere in the face of challenges. A healthy ego can also help individuals to maintain a positive self image, and a strong sense of identity. However, most of us, when ego becomes excessive or unchecked, it can lead to negative outcomes. For example, an overly inflated ego. So, those people who are having this kind of ego problem, actually, they are not having normal ego or healthy ego, they are having that inflated ego that can lead to arrogance, a lack of empathy for others, and an inability to accept criticism or learn from their mistakes. So those are the one who are having problem with their egos, because their ego is inflated ego. We are not going to talk about those people who are having inflated ego. In this podcast, I am trying to help you how to develop a healthy ego. If you don't have a healthy ego, anybody can say anything to you, and you will be like a you will be like a scorpion under the slipper. So, in extreme cases, an inflated ego can lead to narcissism or other personality disorders. So, we are not going to talk about those inflated egos. So, therefore, it is important to strike a balance and maintain a healthy level of ego where one has a positive self-image and confidence in their abilities, but also recognize their limitations and respect the needs and perspectives of others. So, we should have a healthy ego in our life. We should not get our ego crushed. If our ego is always crushed, and if you let others to crush your ego always, that means you are going to lose your own identity. People who are having an identity will have ego. Don't believe nonsense from others who told you that having ego is wrong. If you don't want to have an ego, you are dead in this world. So don't try to allow others to crush your ego. Don't hurt others' egos also. However, if an individual's ego is causing problems in their personal or professional life, it may be helpful to take steps to manage. That means if you are having inflated ego, or if you observe somebody who is having an inflated ego, tell them these tips are helpful. And by chance, if you are suffering this inflated ego, you think that you are the only best person in this world, or you are the only best professional in your field, then you are having inflated ego. But if you believe that you are the best, but there are other people who are better than you, then you have a healthy ego. So those people who are suffering from inflated ego, you have to practice these tips so that you can come down to a normal level and have a healthy ego. So practice self-awareness, first one. Second one, seek feedback. Third one, cultivate humility. Fourth one, focus on serving others. Then fifth one, practice gratitude. So if you can develop practicing self-awareness, getting feedback from others, and cultivate humility, focus on serving others, and practice gratitude, if you are suffering from inflated ego, you can bring down your inflated ego to normal ego. So remember, it is not our goal to completely eliminate ego from our life, but rather to manage it in a way that is healthy and constructive for yourself and those around you. So remember, always remember, you should have a healthy ego. If you have a healthy ego, it gives you self-confidence, it gives you self-esteem, it gives you a sense of happiness and pride in your life, in your mind. So don't think that having ego is something wrong. You must have ego. Don't listen to others who told you. Again, I'm telling, having ego is wrong. Ego is your identity. So believe it, follow it, and have a healthy ego in your life. And that brings us to the end of this video and this podcast. Thank you for tuning into my podcast. I hope you found these tips helpful to become disciplined in life. Remember, to build a strong and healthy ego in life, it takes time, effort, and dedication. But with the right mindset and with the help of these tips, you can achieve your goals and create a better future for yourself. Please tune in next time for more insightful discussions. Every day at 21 hours IST, Indian Standard Time, I'll be back with a new podcast with a brand new topic. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like button and subscribe to my channel for more helpful content. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this podcast. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.